Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out GITGUDRacing.com, where I'm offering the most accessible coaching sessions on the market. Now for the track guide. For turn 1 heavy braking zone, I try to brake as late as possible and I'm looking at the second pair of cones. I'm aiming to brake in between third and second cones, but I'm looking at the second cones, that's for sure. So in between them I'm applying the brakes, and it's a heavy braking zone initially. This car will be capable with the fixed setup that I'm using to reach 100% peak pressure without locking up. So I'm picking at 100% brakes. This is important because you want to maximize the straight line braking efficiency of the car. And if you're gonna brake softer, you will have to brake a bit earlier. So in order to gain just maybe 0.02, 0.03 on entry, you have to brake a bit later and push the braking point as furthest as you can. Now, when coming off the brakes and trailing, I'm looking at this left exit road. I want to position my tires close to this dirt. Don't over exaggerate it by getting the off track and cutting the grass, but don't fall into the trap of leaving too much space on the inside here, on the outside, sorry, of the track, because opening up the apex on the next corner is gonna gain you a lot of time, since this corner is super important since it's a big straight afterwards. So even though I'm straight line braking, I'm trying to position the car in a way that I will be as far as I can on the left side. So right now I'm using just a bit of the exit road while turning. And downshifting to second gear, it's important to delay this downshift of the second as late as possible. If you notice here in telemetry, each throttle blimp corresponds to a downshift. So the first 2 downshifts were really quick, then the third downshift, and now when I'm downshifting to second, it's way later than the other ones. And if we go again and see it in full speed, downshift, 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 and now again a downshift. Downshifting this late is gonna give you the rotation that you need in this part, because ideally when you're trailing the brakes and you're gonna trail, so still trailing right now, you want to be as early as you can on throttle. So at this point I'm already back on throttle. As you can see here, I have the throttle applied, and as a reference, I'm on throttle even before this curve is finished. So this is a curve. At this point I'm being on throttle, and I build it up quickly to 100% while still sticking to the right side. So you don't want to track out wide to the left, you want to hug the right line. Going into the next corner, I use as a reference for braking and turning this exit road on the right. I don't look too much at it because my eyes are looking at the apex on the left, but as soon as I feel that I'm past this exit road, so right now when I don't see it anymore, I start turning more aggressively, and I'm adding just a bit of brakes. And notice that when I'm adding this brake, I'm already generating a lot of rotation, since right now I'm turning right. So even though the corner is on the left, I'm turning right because I make the car unstable on the rear just by the angle that I gave to the steering wheel plus this little bit of brake. So we generated a lot of rotation before the apex. It's a small brake, not more than 15%, and now immediately back on throttle. So at this point, even though we're far away from the corner, we're still back on throttle. So there is an important concept here about the apex and the rotation point. This is the rotation point and the apex is far ahead. So you don't want to be on throttle at the apex. You want to be on throttle earlier, at the point in which you generated the most rotation, being here. The earlier is gonna be, the best is gonna be. Taking just a bit of curve and flat out, using all the track. The next corner is gonna be also flat out, so you don't have to lift, but you will have to force your steering wheel. So you see a lot of steering wheel to make it happen. And as a braking point, I use the moment in which I feel like I straighten up the wheel, because the most efficient way to brake is with the steering wheel straight. Right now I can't brake because I have the steering lock, but as soon as I straighten up the wheel, like right now, I'm applying the brakes. This is my braking point. This is gonna be way more consistent than having other reference, because you will maximize the straight line efficiency of braking. So while braking, I'm still trying to adjust for the line. See, I'm pushing the car a bit more to the right, so I'm braking a bit diagonally to the right, so then I will turn left. This is because I decided to not do a lift into this corner. If you will do a small lift here, then you won't have to do it, but I feel like this is a bit faster to keep it flat and then adjusting a bit on the braking and then turning. While turning, this is a heavy trailing zone. So right now the first part of the braking is to just slow down the car, like this part. But as soon as I'm dropping the brakes and I'm holding them in the lowest 20%, this is more to generate rotation. So still trailing, still trailing, still trailing, still trailing, still on the brakes, still on the brakes, and right now I'm back on throttle. So as you see, this is a long trail braking zones to make the car point. Then full 100% throttle, I'm looking at this kink in the white line, and when the white line meets the grass around here, I want to bring the car to this kink and then turn from this position. It's important to use all the track here to open up this corner, because this is a long corner and you want to keep the minimum speed up. So just a slight brake to make the car point, to transfer the weight to the front tires. Holding this brake while using this curve, and now we're gonna be back on throttle, building up the throttle. And this sequence of corners, I look at them as a double apex corner, because I'm gonna keep a narrow line and then hit this curve again. So if I go back, I would think about this sequence in terms of double apexing like this. This is the first apex, keep a narrow line, going to the second apex here, and then exiting. And right now it's all flat out until the last corner. You will keep a flat out line while using this curve. Don't over prepare the next corner. Don't go to the furthest point to the left, to the white line. It won't be necessary. Your car can turn earlier than you think with a fixed setup. So right now I'm turning right and it's fine. So you don't need to over prepare it. And for the last corner, a bit difficult with finding a good braking point. I will give you a braking point which will be super consistent, but maybe not at the very limit. So what I'm using for braking is the moment in which I straight down the car again. So the moment I have a straight steering wheel, because look, when you're approaching it, you won't be parallel to the white line. You will come from this diagonal angle, you see? So right now I'm not parallel to the white line, but I'm trying to position to have a parallel position. So right now I'm in a good position. I'm close to the white line, I'm parallel, and I'm applying the brakes. So this is my reference. I think it's gonna be more consistent than another reference, just because you will brake based on feel, and this feel will always be the same since you'll always be coming from this angle. So if you're gonna keep the same line while arriving at the corner, this will always be the same. If you want another reference, which I don't really recommend, but for some people it might work, is this exit road on the right side. I think this is the pit entry. Almost the moment that the pit entry is not visible anymore, you see right now you can still see it, but right now you see most of the grass. This is the moment in applying the brakes. You can use this as a reference too, and you can brake a bit later than I do, like right now when you don't see the pit exit anymore. It will still work because I brake kind of soft initially. But anyways, it's just a dab on the brakes and then back on throttle. So it's again like, I think it's turn 3, where you want to be on throttle even before touching the curb. So right now we're back on throttle, building it up using this curb. This curb will hook the car up nicely and it will allow you to carry more speed, which means turning a bit earlier than you think for this corner to meet this curb early. You see, I meet it at the beginning. Take this curb, use the exit line. You can use a bit more of the exit, like I think I lost 2/10 on the exit here. And in short, that's a lap of summit point. I wish you have a great week ahead, and I'll see you on the next one.